Hi, it's Lisa with Lisa Grace Wigs, and today I just wanted to talk about looping, how I loop, how that's different from different insulin pump options. My daughter loops with Apple. I loop with an Android, and it's been pretty amazing. I started looping with Apple, I want to say about 3 years ago. I loved it. You know, Apple, my son had to build the app on my Mac and then upload it to the phone. I did have an Apple Watch at the time, and I could see my blood sugar on my Apple Watch. I could give myself insulin, and that was pretty cool. At that time, I was using the Eros dash pods and the Dexcom G6. This is a dash pod. It's a little different, but this is what a pod looks like. That's the insulin goes in there. That goes on me. I have to change it every 72 hours. And then as far as the Dexcom, can't talk. The Dexcom, just what it looks like in the package. So this is Dexcom. This is a G6. Dexcom is, where is it? There it is. And then my dash right now is on this arm. So in the earlier days when I was using the Eros pods, I did have to keep this little guy on me. I started with a Riley Link, which was a little bit bigger. They have waterproof ones, non-waterproof ones. They're pretty cool, but this was a newer guy out and it's smaller. It's called the Orange Link, and this is what I carried with me the last probably year that I was looping. This is the Bluetooth link that links your phone, the app on your phone, your Dexcom, and your insulin pump all together, you know, be it whatever type of insulin pump you're using. Some people use older pumps, older mini med pumps that basically they're hackable, if that makes sense, and they will allow them to loop with them. Pretty cool. A lot of people do the dash pods or the Eros pods as far as Omnipod 2, which is pretty cool. The reason I don't do like an Omnipod 5, which is a looping, but it's FDA approved, it's through Omnipod, is because anything FDA approved, they're very particular on settings and how low you can set your target, you know, how low you can set your settings. Basically, they don't want you to hurt yourself. So they put in all these safeguards that the FDA has deemed, you know, or the company, this is how it has to be. And that's, you can't go outside of those. So as far as looping on our own, I can set them however I feel fit for me, and that's what's worked for me. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, you know, this is just our story as far as looping. I was able to get my A1C the lowest I've ever had during looping. I want to say my lowest was 5.0, 5.1, 5.2, right down there. It was very low. And I usually run between there and 6.2 is about my highest when I'm looping, which is what I am right now. I've been having some blood sugar issues and kind of fine-tuning things the last couple months. So, you know, that's why I got a little bit higher one. But anyhow, same thing with my daughter. You know, she loops with Apple. She's had the lowest A1C she's had since diagnosis 6 years ago since looping. So we love looping. My son still uses the Tandem. He loops with the Tandem insulin pump, FDA approved, but that's what he likes. He's a creature of habit. He does not want anything new. He does not want anything on his phone. So that's what works for him. Let's see. So yeah, so he built the app on the Mac for my looping when I was doing Apple. Now he does that for Grace. Every year you have to basically reinstall your app. That does any updating and fixes and everything. It's actually kind of a cool thing. Ours, on when we had Apple phones, it pretty much, if you go one day over that year, 1 year I was out of town travel nursing. I'm a registered nurse, and it just shut down. That was a nightmare. So just beware that, you know, for some reason you end up looping at some point, you got to rebuild that app every year and get it updated, you know, on your phone. Let's see. So Samsung or Galaxy versus Apple. The Apple app I found very basic. It was very easy to use. It was very user-friendly, very just simple. Everything in it is just it's so easy to learn. I loved it. My daughter still uses that one. She did not want to switch to Galaxy. About a year ago, I switched to Galaxy, and I did have to, get a whole new app built, which my other son built and, got going on the phone and everything. Huge difference between the two. As far as the APS on the Galaxy, there was such a big learning curve for me. They make you go through all this testing, and you have to have a open loop for quite a while until you get through all of these objectives, which took me, I think, 2 months. It was a long process, but I can honestly say I didn't think I had much to learn, and I learned a lot, and I'm still fine-tuning, even a year later with the Galaxy. So the Galaxy, you don't just install it, turn it on, get used to it with your open loop, and then close your loop and you're done. No, you've got to go through all the tests and everything. So, and some of them were pretty hard. But anyhow, I love that app as well. Now I know, where everything is and how to change everything. It is very user friendly. It's just, there's a lot more to it than the Apple looping app, if that makes sense. One of the interesting things is how people started looping. There was a man, and his daughter had type 1, and when he went to figure out which pump, to get his daughter on, they were awful. So they were also basic and simple, and he was a software engineer. So he took it upon himself to, I'm going to make an app, and I'm going to, make this looping system for my daughter. And he did. It's pretty amazing. And they don't, I can't go on their website and just go, I need you to build this app for me on my phone. No, you're responsible. They will not take that responsibility. So they give you all the tools you need for which type of, either APS or the Loop Docs website for, if you're using an Apple. They give you all the tools you need, but you have to build it. There are so many people that are so supportive that will help if you have questions and whatnot. And we did run into some walls, especially the first year that we were doing it. Ever since, it's actually been pretty simple. And my son, it's like, it's basically waiting for everything to update, and then he just throws it on the phone every year for either of us. But there definitely was some difficulties at first, with the first build. But let's see, I'm trying to think of what else. It's just an amazing tool out there for someone looking for, something different than just the standard FDA approved pumps. For us, having 3 type 1 diabetics in the house, our bills at one point, oh gosh, I would say even with insurance out of pocket, I think we were between $800 and $1,500 the first year that we had 3 type 1s in the house. We weren't looping at that time. 3 insulin pumps, 3 CGMs. At that time, the continuous glucose monitoring system was not a pharmacy benefit. It was only through your durable medical equipment. So you were paying, huge deductibles, and then 20% for the rest of the year on top of that. Type 1 diabetes is a very expensive disease to have. So, compiled by 3, it's been kind of interesting at times. I would say the most frustrating thing for me, though, especially the last few years, is insurance and prescriptions, and glitches come up. It feels like almost continuously. Okay, just to give you an example, a few months ago, our insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama, who I love, they decided that they were no longer just going to give you a Dexcom. The Dexcom, you have to have both the transmitter and the sensor. The sensor you change every 10 days. The transmitter is 3 months, 90 days. So anyhow, they decided that they want a prior authorization. So what's funny is they never asked for it with our sensors, which you have to have both to use together, but then they wanted it on the transmitters. So all of a sudden it took I want to say 2 months total to get all 3 of our prior authorizations. You know, the doctor has to fill out all this paperwork. They have to submit it. If there's anything missing, it gets auto-denied, kicked back. Then it's a whole other process again. We were on the phone with Amazon Pharmacy, you know, every week. Sometimes it feels like literally some days I am on the phone for hours, you know, getting this stuff fixed for all 3 of us. I know, you know, I'm trying to kind of slow walk my kids and teach them how to do this as an adult. They are already even frustrated at times, just me going, okay, so, you know, this is what you have to do, and I'm going to have you start doing it. But they're trying, you know, they're turning 18 and turning 20 in just a couple weeks. So we're just kind of slowly doing it. But, you know, as for right now, I still do manage 90% of it. So anyhow, hope this helps. If anyone's, you know, thinking about looping or looking into it, again, I am not a doctor. I'm not recommending you do anything. Just kind of telling our story and how it's been for us. So I'm very thankful for Loop. I'm very thankful that gentleman had thought about, you know, I'm going to create this for my daughter and it's going to be superior. And in my opinion, it really is. I have tried every pump out there I've had MiniMed, Cosmo, Deltec Cosmo's not even out anymore. I've had multiple Tandem T-slims, multiple generations of, you know, each brand. Omnipod, I had the first generation, you know, the different pods ever since. So I feel like I've had quite a bit of experience as far as just what's out there and, you know, how it was for my body, but everyone's different and, you know, you got to do what works for you. Thank you for listening and have a great day.